This is a single country where ancient forests hold trees older than Jesus Christ, where underground rivers carve cathedrals from solid rock, and where volcanic forces sculpt landscapes so alien they've doubled for other planets in Hollywood films. A land where towering granite walls rise 3,000 feet straight up from valley floors, where hot springs bubble up in colors that seem impossible in nature, and where entire mountain ranges stretch endlessly toward horizons that seem to curve with the Earth itself. This is the United States, a country so geographically diverse, so visually stunning, that it contains virtually every type of natural wonder our planet can produce. From the glacial fjords of Alaska to the coral reefs of Hawaii, from the red rock canyons of Utah to the misty peaks of North Carolina, this nation holds landscapes that have inspired countless artists, photographers, and dreamers for generations. But here's what makes this journey extraordinary. We're not just talking about pretty places. We're talking about geological masterpieces millions of years in the making, ecosystems so unique they exist nowhere else on Earth, and natural phenomena that challenge everything we think we know about the power of wind, water, and time. Each wonder we'll explore today tells a story. Of volcanic eruptions that reshaped continents, of ice ages that carved valleys, of tectonic forces that lifted ocean floors to become mountain peaks. Today we're taking you on a visual journey through the 12 most breathtaking wonders this country has to offer. From iconic landmarks that have become symbols of natural beauty to hidden gems that even seasoned travelers overlook, these destinations represent the absolute pinnacle of what makes the United States one of the most visually spectacular countries on Earth. Number 12. Mammoth Cave National Park, Kentucky. Deep beneath the rolling hills of Kentucky lies a hidden universe that stretches further than the human eye can see, a labyrinth of limestone passages, underground rivers, and cathedral-sized chambers that make up the world's longest-known cave system. Mammoth Cave doesn't just hold the record, it obliterates it, with over 400 miles of surveyed passages, and experts believe there are hundreds more miles yet to be discovered. Step into this underground wonderland and you're immediately struck by the complete transformation of reality. The temperature drops to a constant 54 degrees Fahrenheit, the air becomes thick with moisture, and the only sounds are the distant drip of water and the whisper of underground winds moving through passages that have remained unchanged for millions of years. Your flashlight beam cuts through absolute darkness, revealing walls that seem to breathe and move in the shifting shadows. But Mammoth Cave isn't just about size, it's about the incredible diversity of underground landscapes packed into this subterranean world. The Rotunda, a massive chamber that could easily house a football stadium, showcases walls streaked with white gypsum that looks like frozen waterfalls. The frozen Niagara section features flowstone formations that genuinely resemble cascading ice, created by countless millennia of mineral-rich water slowly building these natural sculptures drop by drop. What makes this place truly remarkable is its living ecosystem. Mammoth Cave hosts over 130 species of wildlife, including 14 species found nowhere else on Earth. Blind cavefish navigate the underground rivers using senses humans can barely comprehend, while eyeless cave crickets and transparent cave shrimp have evolved specifically for this eternal darkness. The cave salamanders, completely colorless and blind, represent evolution in its purest form, life adapting to conditions that would seem impossible to most creatures. The human history here is equally fascinating. Native Americans explored these caves over 4,000 years ago, leaving behind artifacts and even mummies naturally preserved by the cave's unique conditions. During the War of 1812, the cave was mined for saltpeter to make gunpowder, and by the 1800s, it had become one of America's first tourist attractions, drawing visitors from around the world to witness this underground marvel. Number 11. Crater Lake National Park, Oregon. In the heart of the Oregon Cascades lies a site so perfect, so impossibly blue, that it seems more like a computer-generated landscape than something nature could actually create. Crater Lake represents one of the most dramatic examples of volcanic destruction and rebirth on the continent, where catastrophic collapse created what many consider the most beautiful lake in North America. The story begins 7,700 years ago with Mount Mazama, a 12,000-foot volcano that dominated the landscape. When it finally erupted, the explosion was so violent that it ejected 42 cubic miles of rock and ash, creating a caldera nearly 6 miles wide and 4,000 feet deep. Over centuries, snowmelt and rainfall gradually filled this massive crater, creating a lake so deep, 1,943 feet, that it ranks as the deepest in the United States and the 9th deepest in the world. What makes Crater Lake truly spectacular is its water. Fed only by precipitation and snowmelt, with no streams flowing in or out, the lake has achieved a level of purity that creates its signature deep blue color. The water is so clear that objects remain visible at depths of 100 feet or more, and the blue is so intense that it seems to glow from within. This isn't just aesthetic appeal, it's the result of the lake's incredible depth and purity, allowing it to absorb all colors of light except blue, which gets scattered back to create this otherworldly hue. The rim drive around the caldera offers constantly changing perspectives of this natural wonder, each viewpoint revealing new aspects of the lake's beauty. From the Watchman, you can see the entire lake spread out below, with Wizard Island, a volcanic cone that rose from the lake floor after the caldera's formation, sitting like a perfect pyramid in the deep blue water. The Phantom Ship, a jagged rock formation that looks like the silhouette of a sailing vessel, creates one of the most photographed scenes in the Pacific Northwest. But Crater Lake's beauty extends beyond the water itself. The surrounding old-growth forests of mountain hemlock and Shasta red fir create a living frame for the lake, while the volcanic peaks of the Cascade Range stretch to the horizon in every direction. In winter, the area receives some of the heaviest snowfall in North America, often over 40 feet annually, transforming the landscape into a pristine white wonderland that makes the lake's blue even more striking. Number 10. The Wave, Arizona. Hidden in the remote wilderness along the Arizona-Utah border lies a geological formation so surreal, so perfectly sculpted by natural forces, that it looks like something from an alien planet. The Wave is a 190-million-year-old Jurassic-age Navajo sandstone formation that has been carved by wind and water into undulating patterns that seem to flow like frozen music across the desert landscape. Accessing the Wave requires a challenging hike through unmarked desert terrain, but those who make the journey are rewarded with one of the most photographed natural wonders in the American Southwest. The formation gets its name from the wave-like patterns carved into the sandstone, creating a natural amphitheater where the rock flows in perfect curves and spirals. The layered patterns, created by different periods of sand deposition over millions of years, create a natural work of art that seems almost too perfect to be real. The colors of the Wave change dramatically throughout the day, shifting from deep orange and red in the early morning to brilliant yellow and pink at sunset. The iron oxide in the sandstone creates these warm hues, while the interplay of light and shadow emphasizes every curve and contour of the rock. During midday, when the sun is directly overhead, the entire formation seems to glow from within, creating an almost supernatural effect. What makes the Wave truly special is its delicate nature. The sandstone is relatively soft, and the formation is slowly but constantly changing as wind and rare rainstorms continue to sculpt its surface. This ongoing process means that the Wave will never look exactly the same twice, making each visit a unique experience. The Bureau of Land Management strictly limits access to just 20 people per day to protect this fragile formation, making it one of the most exclusive natural attractions in the United States. The surrounding landscape adds to the wonder of the Wave. The area is part of the Paria Canyon Vermilion Cliffs wilderness, where towering red cliffs, hidden slot canyons, and ancient petrified dunes create a landscape that seems otherworldly. Fossils embedded in the rock tell the story of when this desert was covered by vast sand seas, and the tracks of ancient animals can still be seen preserved in the stone. Number 9. Redwood National and State Parks, California. In the misty coastal forests of Northern California stand the tallest living things on Earth. Trees so massive, so ancient, that walking among them feels like entering a living cathedral. These coastal redwoods, some over 2,000 years old and reaching heights of more than 350 feet, create a forest ecosystem unlike anywhere else on the planet. The scale of these giants is almost impossible to comprehend until you're standing at their base, craning your neck upward until it hurts, trying to spot their tops disappearing into the fog. The tallest known tree, nicknamed Hyperion, reaches 380 feet, taller than a 35-story building, and continues growing. These trees began their lives when the Roman Empire was at its peak, and they've stood through everything from medieval times to the digital age, silent witnesses to the entire span of recorded human history. What makes this forest truly magical is how it functions as a complete ecosystem. The redwoods create their own weather, capturing moisture from the Pacific fog and creating a microclimate that supports an incredible diversity of life. Ferns carpet the forest floor in thick, prehistoric-looking carpets, while sorrel and oxalis create a living green tapestry beneath the towering trunks. The forest floor, soft with centuries of fallen needles, muffles sound so completely that the forest takes on an almost sacred quiet. High above, in the canopy that can be 20 stories off the ground, entire ecosystems thrive. Researchers have discovered that the crowns of these ancient trees host their own soil, their own plants, and their own wildlife. Salamanders, worms, and crustaceans live their entire lives in this aerial world, hundreds of feet above the ground. Some of these canopy gardens contain soil that's hundreds of years old, supporting ferns, huckleberries, and even small trees growing from the branches of the giants. The misty, ethereal quality of the redwood forest is enhanced by the coastal climate. Morning fog rolls in from the Pacific, creating beams of light that slice through the forest like natural spotlights. This fog isn't just beautiful, it's essential to the redwood's survival, providing up to 40% of the water the trees need during California's dry summers. The interplay of light and mist creates a constantly changing landscape where the forest seems to shift and breathe with the movement of the fog. Number 8. Antelope Canyon, Arizona. Deep in the heart of Navajo Nation land lies a slot canyon so narrow, so perfectly carved that it seems more like a sculpture than a natural formation. Antelope Canyon, formed by millions of years of flash flood erosion cutting through Navajo sandstone, creates an underground world where light becomes liquid and walls seem to flow like water frozen in time. The canyon exists in two main sections: Upper Antelope Canyon, known as the Crack, and Lower Antelope Canyon, called the Corkscrew. Both offer completely different but equally stunning experiences. Upper Antelope Canyon is famous for its light beams. When the sun is directly overhead, shafts of light pierce through the narrow opening above, creating ethereal columns of illumination that seem to dance and shift as dust particles float through the air. What makes Antelope Canyon truly extraordinary is how it transforms throughout the day. The canyon walls, carved into flowing organic shapes, change color constantly as the sun moves overhead. In the morning, the walls glow with warm orange and red tones. By midday, the famous light beams turn the canyon into a natural cathedral, with pillars of light illuminating the carved sandstone in brilliant yellows and whites. In the afternoon, the walls shift to deeper purples and blues, creating an almost mystical atmosphere. The walls themselves tell the story of water's incredible power. Every curve, every spiral, every smooth undulation was carved by rushing water during flash floods, when the narrow canyon becomes a raging river. The sandstone, compressed over millions of years, has been sculpted into shapes that seem to flow and ripple like frozen waves. Some sections are so narrow that you can touch both walls with your outstretched arms, while others open into chambers that soar 120 feet above your head. The lower canyon requires climbing down metal ladders and squeezing through passages that are sometimes only a few feet wide, but the reward is a more intimate experience with the canyon's sculptural beauty. Here, the walls spiral and twist in impossible patterns, creating natural arches and windows that frame views of the canyon beyond. The smooth, polished walls reflect light in ways that make the entire canyon seem to glow from within. Number 7. Yellowstone National Park, Wyoming. In the northwestern corner of Wyoming lies Earth's first national park, a place where the planet's inner forces bubble up to the surface in the most spectacular ways imaginable. Yellowstone sits atop one of the world's largest volcanic systems, creating a landscape where hot springs, geysers, and colorful thermal pools create a natural wonderland that seems more like an alien planet than anything terrestrial. The park's most famous resident, Old Faithful, erupts approximately every 90 minutes, shooting a column of superheated water up to 180 feet into the air. But Old Faithful is just one of over 500 geysers in the park, more than half of all the geysers on Earth. Each has its own personality and schedule, from the predictable eruptions of Castle Geyser to the rare but spectacular displays of Steamboat Geyser, which can shoot water over 300 feet high, but the geysers are just the beginning. Yellowstone's thermal features include over 10,000 hot springs, mud pots, and fumaroles, each creating its own unique landscape. The Grand Prismatic Spring, the largest hot spring in the United States, creates a rainbow of colors that seems impossible in nature. The spring's center reaches temperatures of 199 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to kill most life forms, but as the water flows outward and cools, Different species of heat-loving bacteria create distinct colored bands, deep blue in the center, then green, yellow, orange, and red as the water cools. The Mammoth Hot Springs terraces showcase another type of thermal wonder, where mineral-rich water has built elaborate limestone terraces that look like frozen waterfalls. These terraces are constantly growing and changing as the springs deposit new layers of calcium carbonate, creating a living sculpture that changes appearance with each season. Beyond the thermal features, Yellowstone contains some of the most diverse wildlife populations in North America. The park is home to grizzly bears, black bears, wolves, elk, bison, and mountain lions, creating one of the most complete ecosystems in the temperate world. The reintroduction of wolves in 1995 has created a perfect natural balance, allowing visitors to witness predator-prey relationships that have existed for thousands of years. The Yellowstone River cuts through the park, creating the spectacular Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone, where the river plunges 308 feet over the lower falls. The canyon walls, stained yellow by iron oxide, which gave the park its name, create a colorful frame for the waterfall, making it one of the most photographed scenes in the American West. Number 6. Monument Valley, Arizona and Utah. Rising from the vast desert floor like ancient cathedrals, the sandstone buttes and mesas of Monument Valley create, honestly, one of the most recognizable landscapes in the world. These towering formations, some reaching 1,000 feet above the desert floor, have become the defining image of the American Southwest, appearing in countless films, photographs, and artistic works that have shaped how the world views the American frontier. The valley sits within the Navajo Nation, and the Navajo people consider these formations sacred, each one named and woven into traditional stories and ceremonies. The most famous formations, the Mittens, Merrick Butte, and Elephant Butte, create a skyline that seems designed by nature as the perfect backdrop for the dramatic interplay of light and shadow that defines desert landscapes. What makes Monument Valley truly spectacular is how it changes throughout the day. At sunrise, the red sandstone formations glow like embers against the purple sky, creating a scene of such perfect beauty that it seems almost too dramatic to be real. As the sun rises higher, the formations cast long shadows across the valley floor, creating a landscape of light and dark that emphasizes every ridge, every cliff, every weathered surface. The formations themselves tell the story of millions of years of geological history. These buttes and mesas are the remains of a vast sandstone plateau that once covered the entire region. Over millions of years, wind and water have eroded away the softer rock, leaving these harder formations standing as monuments to the power of time and weather. The horizontal layers visible in the rock faces mark different periods of deposition, each one representing a different ancient environment, from sand dunes to shallow seas to river deltas. The valley floor, covered in red sand and scattered with sagebrush and other desert plants, creates a living carpet that stretches to the horizon. This isn't a barren wasteland, it's a complex ecosystem adapted to extreme conditions, where every plant and animal has evolved specific strategies for surviving in this harsh but beautiful environment. And just when you think it can't get better, wait until you see number 1. Number 5. Grand Canyon, Arizona. At the edge of the Colorado Plateau, the Earth splits open to reveal one of the most spectacular geological cross-sections on the planet. The Grand Canyon, carved by the Colorado River over the past 6 million years, exposes nearly 2 billion years of Earth's history in its layered walls, creating a natural museum of geology that stretches 277 miles long, up to 18 miles wide, and more than a mile deep. Standing at the south rim, the sheer scale of the canyon is overwhelming. The human eye and brain struggle to process the vastness spread out below, layer upon layer of red, orange, yellow, and purple rock stretching to a horizon that seems impossibly far away. The Colorado River, which carved this massive gorge, appears as a thin silver thread winding through the canyon floor, giving some perspective to the canyon's incredible depth. Each layer of rock tells a different chapter in Earth's history. The dark schist at the bottom, part of the Vishnu Formation, dates back 1.8 billion years when the area was covered by ancient seas. Above it, the Bright Angel Shale contains fossils of trilobites that lived 500 million years ago. The Coconino Sandstone preserves footprints of reptiles that walked across ancient sand dunes, while the Kaibab Limestone at the rim contains fossils of sea creatures that lived when this area was under a shallow tropical sea. The canyon's beauty isn't just in its size, it's in the incredible interplay of light and shadow that brings the layered walls to life. At sunrise, the eastern walls glow with warm pink and orange light, while the western walls remain in deep blue shadow, creating a three-dimensional effect that emphasizes every ridge and cliff. At sunset, the process reverses, with the western walls catching fire while the eastern walls fade to purple and blue. Weather adds another dimension to the canyon's beauty. Morning fog sometimes fills the canyon like a white sea, with only the highest peaks and ridges visible like islands. Winter snow transforms the red rock into a landscape of white and red that seems almost Christmas card perfect. Summer thunderstorms create dramatic skies that frame the canyon in layers of dark clouds and brilliant sunlight. The canyon supports an incredible diversity of life, from the desert scrub of the rims to the lush riparian zones along the Colorado River. Different elevations create different ecosystems, so a hike from rim to river is like traveling from Canada to Mexico in terms of the plant and animal life you encounter. If this journey has already left you breathless, hit that subscribe button. We're only halfway through, and the absolute best is yet to come. Number 4. Yosemite National Park, California. In the heart of California's Sierra Nevada mountains lies a valley so perfectly formed, so dramatically beautiful, that it has inspired artists, photographers, and nature lovers for over 150 years. Yosemite Valley, carved by glacial action over millions of years, represents the ultimate expression of granite architecture, where waterfalls plunge thousands of feet from vertical cliffs and massive dome formations rise like natural cathedrals from the valley floor. The defining feature of Yosemite is its granite formations, created by magma that cooled deep underground and was later exposed by glacial action. El Capitan, the largest granite monolith in the world, rises 3,000 feet straight up from the valley floor in a single, unbroken wall of rock. This massive formation has become the ultimate challenge for rock climbers from around the world, but for most visitors, its sheer scale and perfect vertical face create a sense of awe that borders on the spiritual. Half Dome, with its distinctive flat face and steep back slope, dominates the eastern end of the valley. This iconic formation, rising 4,737 feet above sea level, gets its name from its appearance, as if a giant dome of granite was sliced in half by some cosmic force. The truth is almost as dramatic. The missing half was never there. Glacial action carved away the rock on one side, leaving the steep granite face that has become one of the most recognizable landmarks in North America. Yosemite's waterfalls add motion and sound to the granite landscape. Yosemite Falls, the tallest waterfall in North America, plunges 2,425 feet in 3 distinct sections, creating a spectacle that changes dramatically with the seasons. In late spring, when snowmelt is at its peak, the falls thunder into the valley with tremendous force, creating mist that can be felt hundreds of yards away. By late summer, the falls often dry to a trickle, but this seasonal variation adds to their dramatic appeal. Bridal Veil Fall at the valley's western end creates a delicate veil of water that dances in the wind as it falls 617 feet. The Miwok people who first lived in the valley called it Pohono, meaning spirit of the puffing wind, referring to how the wind often blows the falling water around like a living thing. The valley floor itself is a masterpiece of natural landscaping. Meadows filled with wildflowers stretch between groves of oak, pine, and cedar, while the Merced River winds through the valley in lazy curves that perfectly reflect the granite cliffs above. In spring, these meadows explode with color. Lupines, Indian paintbrush, and dozens of other wildflower species create a carpet of color that extends from the river to the base of the cliffs. Number 3. Glacier National Park, Montana. Along the border between Montana and Canada lies a wilderness so pristine, so perfectly preserved, that it offers a glimpse of what North America looked like before human civilization. Glacier National Park, often called the crown of the continent, contains over 1 million acres of rugged mountains, pristine lakes, and ancient glaciers that have shaped one of the most spectacular landscapes on the continent. The park's 26 glaciers, remnants of the last ice age, continue to shape the landscape today. These rivers of ice have carved the distinctive horn peaks, arêtes, and cirques that define the park's dramatic skyline. The glaciers also created the park's most distinctive feature, its lakes. Glacier National Park contains over 700 lakes, many of them so clear and cold that they appear to be made of liquid crystal. Lake McDonald, the park's largest lake, stretches 10 miles through a glacially carved valley surrounded by peaks that rise directly from the water's edge. The lake's clear waters reflect the surrounding mountains so perfectly that it's often impossible to tell where the mountains end and their reflections begin. The colored pebbles on the lake's bottom, visible through 30 feet of crystal clear water, create a natural kaleidoscope that shifts and changes with the light. But it's the park's high-altitude lakes that truly showcase the power of glacial carving. Hidden Lake, accessible by a moderate hike from Logan Pass, sits in a cirque surrounded by towering peaks and snowfields. The lake's turquoise waters, colored by glacial flour, finely ground rock suspended in the water, create a color so intense it seems almost artificial. The Going to the Sun Road, an engineering marvel that crosses the Continental Divide at Logan Pass, offers access to some of the most spectacular mountain scenery in North America. The road, carved into cliff faces and spanning deep valleys, provides constantly changing views of peaks, glaciers, and alpine meadows. At Logan Pass, visitors can walk through meadows filled with wildflowers while mountain goats graze nearby, seemingly unbothered by human presence. The park's wildlife is as impressive as its scenery. Grizzly bears and black bears roam the forests and meadows, while mountain goats navigate impossible cliff faces with ease. Moose wade through marshy areas, and wolverines, lynx, and mountain lions maintain the wild character of this pristine ecosystem. The park serves as a crucial wildlife corridor, connecting ecosystems across the northern Rocky Mountains. The park's weather adds another dimension to its beauty. Sudden storms can transform sunny meadows into dramatic landscapes of mist and cloud, while the interplay of light and shadow on the peaks creates constantly changing scenes. In winter, the park becomes a pristine wonderland of snow and ice, accessible only to the most dedicated adventurers. In the heart of Alaska rises the tallest mountain in North America, a peak so massive and dominant that it creates its own weather systems and can be seen from over 200 miles away. Denali, meaning the high one in the native Koyukon language, rises 20,310 feet above sea level, but more importantly, it rises 18,000 feet above the surrounding landscape, creating one of the most dramatic vertical reliefs on Earth. The mountain's sheer scale is difficult to comprehend. From base to summit, Denali rises higher than Mount Everest rises above its base camp. The mountain is so large that it creates its own weather, capturing moisture from the air and creating storms that can last for days. The summit is visible only about 30% of the time, usually shrouded in clouds that swirl around the peak like a living thing. But Denali is more than just a mountain. It's the centerpiece of a 6 million acre wilderness that represents Alaska in its purest form. The park contains the complete ecosystem of interior Alaska, from the taiga forests of the lower elevations to the alpine tundra of the higher peaks. This is a landscape where massive glaciers flow down from the mountain slopes, where caribou migrate across vast tundra plains, and where grizzly bears roam territories that can span hundreds of square miles. The park's wildlife viewing opportunities are unparalleled. Dall sheep navigate the steep mountainsides with ease, their white forms standing out against the dark rock. Caribou move across the tundra in herds that can number in the thousands, following migration routes that have remained unchanged for millennia. Grizzly bears, some of the largest in the world, dig for roots and berries across the vast landscape, while wolves follow the caribou herds in one of the world's most complete predator-prey relationships. The park's single road, running 92 miles from the park entrance to Wonder Lake, provides access to this wilderness while preserving its wild character. The road passes through constantly changing landscapes, from the boreal forests near the entrance to the open tundra of the park's interior. At Wonder Lake on clear days, Denali reflects perfectly in the still water, creating one of the most photographed scenes in Alaska. The park's seasonal changes are dramatic. Summer brings 20 hours of daylight, allowing for incredible wildlife viewing and photography opportunities. The tundra explodes with wildflowers, creating carpets of color that stretch to the horizon. Fall brings the aurora borealis, painting the sky in green and purple while the mountain stands silhouetted against the dancing lights. Winter transforms the landscape into a pristine white wilderness, where the mountain dominates a world of snow and ice. On the Big Island of Hawaii, the Earth reveals its most primal creative force in a display so spectacular, so fundamentally powerful, that it kind of redefines what we consider natural beauty. Hawaii Volcanoes National Park encompasses two active volcanoes, Kilauea and Mauna Loa. where visitors can actually witness the planet literally creating itself, as molten rock emerges from the Earth's interior to form new land right before their eyes. Kilauea, one of the world's most active volcanoes, has been erupting almost continuously for over 30 years, creating a landscape that exists nowhere else on Earth. The Halemaumau crater, within Kilauea's summit caldera, contains a lava lake that glows like a window into hell itself. The molten rock, reaching temperatures of over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, creates a constantly changing surface that bubbles, splashes, and flows just like liquid metal. At night, the glow from the lava lake illuminates the volcanic gases rising from the crater, creating an otherworldly scene that honestly seems more like science fiction than natural reality. But the true spectacle occurs when the lava flows reach the ocean. Here, the meeting of fire and water creates one of the most dramatic displays in nature. The lava, still glowing red-hot, hits the cold Pacific Ocean in an explosion of steam and sound. The superheated water creates massive steam plumes that rise hundreds of feet into the air, while the lava instantly cools and shatters, creating new black sand beaches and adding acres of new land to the island. The sound is just indescribable, a constant hissing, cracking, and roaring that honestly seems to come from the Earth itself. The park's landscape is constantly changing. Where lava flows have cooled, new ecosystems begin to establish themselves. Pioneer plants like Ohia lahua trees take root in the volcanic rock, and their bright red flowers create these splashes of color against the black lava. Over time, these barren lava fields transform into lush rainforests, really showcasing the incredible resilience of life. The park also contains some of the most diverse ecosystems on Earth, from the tropical rainforests of the Kilauea summit to the alpine desert of Mauna Loa's upper slopes. This diversity is compressed into a relatively small area, allowing visitors to experience everything from steaming volcanic vents to pristine beaches to ancient petroglyphs carved into lava rock by native Hawaiians. The cultural significance of the park adds another layer to its beauty. Native Hawaiians consider Kilauea the home of Pele, the volcano goddess, and the entire area is sacred. The park preserves not just the natural landscape but also the cultural heritage of the Hawaiian people, including ancient trails, ceremonial sites, and traditional stories that connect the land to its people. The park's night sky, unpolluted by city lights, reveals the Milky Way in all its glory, while the glow from the active volcanoes creates a natural light show that illuminates the volcanic landscape. The contrast between the ancient starlight and the primal glow of molten rock creates a scene that connects visitors to both the cosmic and terrestrial forces that shape our world. From the moment you step into this volcanic wonderland, you're witnessing the most fundamental process on our planet, the creation of new land from the Earth's molten interior. This isn't just a beautiful landscape, it's a living demonstration of the geological forces that have shaped our entire planet. Every rock, every grain of sand, every island in the Hawaiian chain was created by the same volcanic processes you can witness here today. The United States stands alone in its ability to contain such incredible diversity within a single nation's borders. From the underground cathedrals of Kentucky to the volcanic furnaces of Hawaii, from the towering redwoods of California to the pristine wilderness of Alaska, this country offers a visual journey through virtually every type of natural wonder our planet can produce. These aren't just tourist destinations, they're living laboratories where we can witness the incredible forces that have shaped our world over millions of years. Each of these wonders tells a story of time, patience, and the incredible power of natural forces. They remind us that beauty exists on a scale far beyond human comprehension, that our planet is capable of creating landscapes so spectacular, they challenge our ability to fully grasp their magnificence. In a world increasingly dominated by human creation, these natural wonders stand as monuments to the incredible artistry of geological time, weather, and the fundamental forces that continue to shape our world. These places don't just showcase America's natural heritage, they represent some of the most beautiful and geologically significant landscapes on Earth. They prove that sometimes the most incredible art isn't created by human hands, but by the patient, persistent forces of nature working over time scales that dwarf human existence. If this journey amazed you, subscribe and share it with someone who loves discovery. Some places you visit, others stay with you forever. Until the next destination, stay curious.